razor sharp, designed to impale, and next to impossible to remove. The fearsome creature that wields these weapons? Aw, look at that face.
Hello viewers and welcome to another episode of Trashtalk on Lancer. In today's episode, Vlad the Perforator. Vlad Teeps, also known as Vlad the Third Dracula, also known as Vlad the Piercer. Is there even anyone that doesn't know Vlad the Spiker through shows or memes in some ways? Anyway, I guess I could talk something about actual history because Vlad the Spearer is, in fact, not a fucking vampire. He's instead, a voivode of Wallachia. To people outside of Wallachia, he was, to give the understatement of the millennium, a prick. But to people of Wallachia, he was a national hero. In many Romanian historical tales, people considered his cruelty and brutality to be necessary for Wallachia to stabilize after the turmoils it has suffered. So, to live up to his history, Vlad the Frame, originally named Yi Sun Shin but nobody cares because nobody really knows about that guy, is designed to achieve control on the battlefield with terrifying tactics. And impaling giant robots, I guess. First, let's look at its stat. Average health, decent armor, average evasion and average E-defense. Its speed is okay, heat cap is a bit on the lower side, but it cannot do tech attack well with that poor sensor range and tech bonus. As for its traits, it has two of them. The first, dismemberment, makes it so that whenever Vlad immobilizes someone, they are shredded. Meaning their resistance and armor can no longer absorb damage and you can pummel them to death with ease. The second, Shrike armor, makes anyone that tries to attack Vlad within range 3 of it to be impaled for 1 AP kinetic damage before the attack could even begin. Onto your weapon mount, you have 3 of them, 1 flex, 1 main and 1 heavy. But you only have 5 base system points. As for your core power, your Shrike armor begins Tormentor Spine's protocol and for the rest of the scene, Vlad gains resistance to all attacks within range 3 of him and the damage from the Shrike armor get tripled. Not exactly a fancy core power, but anyone close to you is going to feel a lot of pain. Onto the rest of the license, you get Snare Trap and Impact Lance in the first section. Snare Trap is a trap. When someone walks over it, they must pass a hull check or take 1d6 AP kinetic damage and get immobilized. Once triggered, the trap becomes an object that could be destroyed and will continue to immobilize its target until it's destroyed. This is incredibly useful thanks to Vlad's traits, but it definitely requires a bit of finesse as it only activates at the end of your turn. Impact Lance is an energy-based melee weapon with a long threat 3 range. And if you have 1 or more targets between your primary targets, you can damage all of them in one go but you take +1 heat for each person you pierced through after the first. For the second section, aside from Vlad Frame itself, you get Nailgun and Caltrip Launcher. Nailgun is a nailgun, also famously called as the IPSN Impaler in case you still don't get the historical reference. It's a gun that nails your enemy onto the floor if they failed their hull save, immobilizing them until the end of their turn. Aside from that, short range, good threat, and good damage, pretty decent really. Caltrip Launcher lets you launch a bunch of explosive caltrops in a small area, turning it into a difficult terrain and any mech that enters the area for the first time or start its turn there will automatically take 1d3 AP explosive damage. Simple, but effective area denial weapons. In the last section, you get Combat Drill and Charged Stake. Combat Drill is, well, if you are one of the people that voted for Vlad, you already know where this is going. Combat Drill is a super heavy class melee weapon that's frankly a little ridiculous. Overkill, armor piercing and look at all that damages. But wait, there's more. Every time you triggers overkill when attacking a character suffering from prone, immobilized, or stunned conditions, you get to roll an additional 1d6 damage. This extra damage roll can also trigger overkill and subsequently activates more additional damage roll. Meaning you get to roll so many damage dices that it's going to look positively ridiculous. Make sure you aren't at the top of your heat cap when doing so because you might end up overheating yourself. Finally, charged stake, which is kinda like snare trap except this time, you can just directly shank someone close to you with it. The target must pass a hull save or else they will take 1d6 AP energy damage and get immobilized. At the end of their turn, the target can repeat the save to end the effect on itself, as otherwise it will take another 5 AP energy damage and continue to get immobilized until it can finally pass the save roll. Only one target can be affected by this system, but you can recover or pull the stake out of people with a quick action when you are close, ending the effect. As a conclusion, Vlad is a frame that wants to stop people from moving. It can do support role pretty well, but in reality, it just wants to stop its preys in place as Vlad wants to end them personally itself.